Hello, everybody.
Oh, there's already chats. Oh my god.
I know. Let's catch up here. Oh, all the buddies are here. I was gonna do a fancy countdown, but I'm not ready yet. Still gonna take a few things. I don't have the trust.
I don't have the trust.
Hi everybody. WUFO week 37. Oh my gosh. Crazy. This is the East Coast show. Hello everybody. I should probably add that on a banner. I'll get to that eventually sometime during this show. Thanks everybody for joining us. I just had to tell Adler to get off of Duolingo.
Look, I'm trying to find an easy one to appease this owl.
Appease the
he
owl.
will come for me.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not ready. I'm not ready to die to this owl.
Well, I feel like someone needs to knit you, Vanessa. I think someone needs to knit you the owl, and it has to be like I'm always watching or something.
Oh my god, it just haunts my dreams. I'm so surprised I've never dreamed about the Duolingo owl.
You haven't? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So I have like a few little announcements, and then we could like totally get into what you have been dreaming about if you want.
That's a fun conversation.
So good. I know. I get the Marcos. They're the best.
Oh, but you love that last one. It was so good.
Yeah, and like, my thing is like, by the time I get up and like go get my phone, Ranger has already been like, where's the food? I need to go outside. Willow is screaming. And so it's like, dream's gone. I have to fake that I'm still asleep if I want to retain anything.
Yep. I only remember them anymore if they're like super traumatic, which apparently they just have been.
Oh no. Not a thing I should like. Oh, Adler. Well, you got a good series of dreams going, and I think that for the longest time you were one of like the most active post-WUFO dreamers, and so this progression is very natural.
Yeah, it is very natural, right? Oh my god.
Yeah. Like you're a resident dreamer. Oh my gosh, that's foreshadowing for something I think Garrett might talk about tonight on the West Coast show, so everybody just get ready about community dreaming. That's what I'll say. Crazy information he found out about that today. All right, so first things first, getting real formal here. Tonight's mutual aid, I'm actually going to type this out. You're going to see my fingers. It's going to be okay. Here we go. So if you go to this address, this is our weekly mutual aid that we're promoting.
I just need to quote that. I'm sorry. Continue.
Jeez, the WUFO thread is off. So, you know, Hurricane Ian has unfortunately come through, and we all know and love people in the community who live there and are currently being affected. So we were like, you know, there's obviously a ton of mutual aid funds, especially on GoFundMe. So why not just link that hub that GoFundMe has? So if you follow this link, it will take you directly to that GoFundMe homepage for Hurricane Ian, and you can pick by like city, you can pick by organization, whoever you want to donate to, and it's all like mutual aid. It's all very small funds, so I think that's fantastic and important.
And it's probably going to grow as the days go by.
Yeah,
because you know it hit a while ago, and there are houses that are completely underwater, and obviously we're not going to know about any damage until tomorrow, at least for where it hit on the coast. The Fort Myers area, and it's going to be moving into areas where some of our friends are more inland overnight and into tomorrow. And so we won't know damage in those areas until it passes. So we're still at a category 3, not good. But you'll see more of those mutual aid requests pop up over the next few weeks even. So if you don't want to donate now, totally fine, but hold on to anything you might want to donate so you know where you want to give it, because there's people who are going to have nothing, like especially like when a house gets flooded in Florida, it's just going to be mold after that. So a lot of people are going to have to tear down their houses even if it's still standing. I am very safe. I know a lot of people have been telling me stay safe. Literally, it was the most beautiful day up here. It didn't touch us. No rain, no wind, no clouds. So got very lucky in the panhandle, but a lot of people did not. So yeah, keep your eyes on that. And, you know, if we have resources, like I'll share anything I find. So you can always like pop over to my chaotic feed, and in the middle of all the Moby Dick quotes and the other chaos, there'll probably be something. So
Oh man, that was a good one. Like, I think that was a really good spiel, and that gave me like inspiration that maybe we can create a page. This is more of a Garrett question. We can create a page that has just like our own hub of mutual aid, so people can go directly from WUFO to like all of the really small mutual aid links that we're getting from individuals. I think that would be really important. So Garrett, if you're here, let's do it. Let's make it more than a redirect, maybe. If that's not too much work. But we'll be sharing. You best believe it. Shut up. I don't know where that came from, but we're just gonna go with it. So, anyways, oh my god, Adler just saw the tweet.
Yeah, really important tweet. You know, just posted. Really, really relevant.
Oh my god. Yes, Garrett, yes. I love that like so many of us are logged into the Little Bit of Earth account. Like I had to like last night's show. But, like we have the same birthday, but I didn't mean like all collectively. I meant like me and one person in the comments. So I had to be like, this is Bex. Maybe I should log out. Anyways, don't want Adler to lose any coffee.
Don't worry, there's so much more. I'm a PhD student. So.
That's like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. She spent the night with me, and you were like, coffee.
Coffee.
I don't. I'm so sorry. I was like, I have no idea how to work this machine. It just lives here.
That's literally all I was like. Me and the other people in my lab, we were so worried with this hurricane because it was supposed to hit us directly initially. And like everyone in my lab was like, how are we going to make coffee at home with no electricity?
You're going to go back to the fires.
I was like, I have a starter log in my car. I can light it outside.
Or you can, let me dig this up and then we'll talk about your dream and then we'll get John in. But okay, listen, I sent this to Katie and Jess today and you need to see it too. And we were talking about crock pots last night on Katie and Bex Live and crock pot witchery, right? Okay, so there is like this mini crock pot that you can like use a converter cord in your car or like if you're at work, and it's like a little mini crock pot that will heat up whatever. And so you could just like make coffee in that, like theoretically.
Listen, that's all I need, and then I can disappear to the swamps forever. So
I know, and like I don't know how much it is. I don't know a lot of like this important information, but I can show you a video. Look at this little guy. Oh my God. He's so cute. He looks like a little thermos. Look at that cord. It's so cool.
Oh my God.
I'm just eating on that while I'm driving, and the unfortunate policeman have to interact with me would be like, what are you doing? And I would throw it.
This is my kind of thing, okay? Listen.
Anyways, okay, let's talk about something that you told me earlier, and it fits very much into WUFO, like classic WUFO. You had a dream, and it was an abduction dream of sorts, and it had to do somewhat with felines eventually. Now, if you're, you know, an OG WUFO not, what are we calling okay.
WUFO not? Absolutely. That's
I
it.
don't know. I've seen all these different names in the comments, but my mind is just blank when I'm on the spot.
WUFO not is at least my favorite.
Okay, well, whatever you want to call ourselves. We've had a lot of cat phenomena like in the first like 15 weeks. And what's really interesting is that tonight for the live contact session and for the West Coast show, Jim Perry is the guest. And Jim Perry experienced some of the cat phenomenon at the first like live WUFO that him, Garrett, and I did together. A lot of cat synchronicities for the following weeks with like WUFOers and whatnot. So Adler, take it away, and then we'll have a special guest come on that's also tied to Jim.
Incredible.
Thanks.
Yes. Well, I see Otis, so I can say hi to them. Hello, Otis. Yeah. So preface for people who don't know this, but I have always had weird abduction-like dreams. And I'm someone who lucid dreams. I have really vivid dreams. Like, that's my paranormal thing, I guess, if you want to call it paranormal. And so they're super vivid and everything. And now normally my dreams, I don't usually do like recall of my day. I normally don't have symbolic dreams. And I normally don't have dreams about like where I live. I'll have a dream of my house, but it's like fucked up, right? How dreams are. And I wake up, I'm like, oh, that wasn't really my house. But when I have abduction dreams, I am dreaming. They're extremely vivid. I have every sense. I can't necessarily tell that I'm dreaming. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But it is where I am sleeping in that exact moment, and it is exact. Nothing is different. Even down to smells, textures of things, where little objects are placed. Everything is exactly the same. And when I wake up, I'm like, I could have been awake. I don't know. So that's how I tell when something's off. And the first time I had this dream, I was very excited. And every time after that, it's like the first time I had this dream and I actually saw a UFO, I was very excited because I was like, oh, UFO, I was really excited. Every time after that, I pop into this dream, and before I even see anything, it is the scariest thing ever. Like, I am so scared. And even if I know that I'm dreaming, I know I can't wake up. And so I freak out. It's like the most scared I ever am was when I have these dreams. And so I recognize them and I don't remember anything, right? Like, I'll see the light or whatever comes and then I wake up later. So I don't know what happens. I don't think I want to know. But anyway, so the 2 nights ago, I don't know when it was. Bex knows when it was. I sent a recording. I had this dream, and for the first time, I was in this apartment, in this room. And obviously I'm not going to show everyone my room, but everything was in the right place. Little things were in the shelves, things were knocked over, how my chaotic cat has knocked them over. Like, everything was the same. And I was like, no, I have to be dreaming. And I got that feeling again. And it was like, oh, come on. I was literally like, no. I was not about it. And I had this feeling that I was going to like see the little whoever's like in my room. And I literally in the dream was like, listen, I don't want to see you. Like, I can't handle that. I don't want to see you. And I turned, I was in my bed, and it was like sleep paralysis, basically. But I was dreaming. So like, I was not awake. But in the dream, I had sleep paralysis. And I turned, and what was, I think, going to be basically little green men turned into 3 kittens. 3 very small, fluffy little kittens. But I knew what they were. But then I was like, okay, that's fine. It was like, I'm not okay with this dream, but it was like, okay, fine. Like, there's 3 kittens. I'm in my bed. It's fine. And then I went to sleep and I woke up and it was fine. And then I told Bex. And then last night I woke up in the middle of the night and had a little bit of sleep paralysis, which I don't get very often. And I guess it was this morning. No, when the fuck was this? I don't even know. When did I tell you, Bex? This morning?
Yesterday morning, I think.
Oh, okay, I was like, it had to be.
No, it was this morning. It was
this morning?
Yeah.
There was some kind of light source outside of my window, enough where I could see like shadows are projected in. I obviously don't have like blinds covering this. So if there's like light, I see shadows all over my walls and stuff. Well, at some point, it had to be last night, right before I went to bed, because there's like a light that's normally on out here. I could see the shadows of like the leaves on these trees. And in the middle, what would be like floating in the middle, there was a oval shape, and it like came in and floated there, and I looked at it and I had like some sleep paralysis, and then it shot off. And there was nobody out here. There's nothing that could be. It's not like that's from a porch, that had to be like by this tree. Because I'm like, oh, maybe somebody's walking their dog, but it like wasn't attached to anything. There was no one out here. And I was like, good night. I was like, goodbye. I'm going to sleep. I don't remember what my dreams were last night, but but yeah, so that's fun. Kittens. I'm being abducted by kittens. So
I love that. I think a large portion of your internet presence is kitten. So I think that it's very fitting, and it's just very, I don't know, compatible with WUFO. It just like all fits together so good. I know that Kiki was one of the folks who started having cat phenomena early on in WUFO. So it's interesting to interact with multiple cat dreamers tonight. And I don't know, I think that's really interesting. Maybe the cat phenomenon is starting again. Maybe we'll find out in the session. But now is the perfect time to bring on John McEdward, one of my buddies. He's also buddies with Jim Perry. They work on some projects together, and so he'll be able to tell us a little about that. Hi.
Hey Bex, hey Adler, hey WUFO
Hey.
East.
Yes. The second WUFO East show so far.
Yes.
We're doing good.
Adler, wild stuff. Very like screen memory, the owls and all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting that you were like, please, I don't want to see you. And it was like, here, we'll be kittens instead.
yeah, I literally was like, that's fine, and just went back to bed.
With that attitude.
Thank you.
Okay. We discovered this before the show, but look at their outfits. Look at them matching. Isn't that awesome?
I should have got my other headphones too, and then we would have been full-blown matching.
I'm telling you, Bex is the slacker here. Where's the red flannel?
I went on Amazon and they were high. No, I didn't have enough time. I hear you loud and clear for next time though. So just watch out there. But tonight we're talking about weird dreams. We're talking about anything related to WUFO. We have like a couple of surprise guests popping in and out. So next couple of minutes, John is going to tell us a story that has to do with this kind of stuff back when he was 16. And I'm really interested and excited.
Yeah, I thought this would be a good one because it does mix a little bit of dream stuff, a little bit of that weird feeling, plus a pretty cool sighting, I think. And probably one of the reasons why I'm super into UFO stuff, at least. I've had a lot of strange experiences throughout life, but this was like, could not deny it, because I'm kind of like that person that always tries to run through the skeptic checklist, at least, and always been that way. But this one experience I'll share is something I could not deny because it was with my best friend as well. So first of all, I grew up in like a really small valley town known for agriculture and a military training center. So that vibe for sure. So one night I was at my friend's house, which also I will say this house was very haunted, had a lot of weird activity that I could get into another time. But I was sleeping on the couch, stay there quite often, and I was having a weird dream. I was traveling through this like house maze thing, and every door I opened was like more ridiculous than the last. Like I remember a lion or something in one door, and I was trying to find my friend's voice because I could hear him kind of talking and calling out. And I finally kind of get there, and then I wake up and realize he's actually is talking. He's talking on the phone to someone. And one of our friends was having a rough time, personal thing, but it was very late in the night, and we just went to go hang out with him. So this was probably like 2 or 3 already. Then we get back, and we're like, let's just watch the sunrise since we're already up. And it was just about that time, and, I can see a big, big mountain from his backyard, and like I said, it's a nice valley, so you can just kinda see everything. It's that perfect time where the sun and the clouds are kinda that pink, orangish hue as the sun's coming up, and finally, we're both, like, passing out, so let's just go to bed. We go back inside, and I'm sitting on the couch, and then I just have the feeling like, "Just look outside again." And I open the blinds, and just in the one spot of the blinds above the mountain, I see this little shape kinda slowly moving across the mountain, and it's the color of the clouds. It's the pink and the orange kinda color, and I tell my friend, and he looks, and as we're watching, we see another one come from the other side. And so at this point, we're like, okay, we grab binoculars, we're like running out in our PJs, in the backyard. And we watched this thing go over, two of them, and then they stopped right where we were as we were watching. And they just sat there for what felt like forever. It was probably like 5 minutes, though. It was a long experience. And we kept taking turns, like looking through binoculars and just watching them. And then finally, this one starts going across the sky, and the other one starts going over the mountain. And I'm watching it through binoculars as it's going over the mountain, and it does not move smoothly. It moves like in photographs. It's doing this. And as it's going over, I can see that it's circular on the bottom. The only thing that I can really describe it as is the intro to X-Files. It was literally that the pictures, how it shows them kind of moving over the mountain. And yeah, we watched the other one go across the sky for another like 5 minutes. And then we were just cheering and screaming. We just saw a UFO, and his mom opens the window, like, what the hell are you guys doing? Kind of thing. And yeah, we just stayed up because we were freaking freaked out and thought it was awesome at the same time. Then we went to McDonald's and had some coffee. So
As one does.
after an incredible encounter.
You
Yeah.
just like rip normalcy. You're like, coffee, McDonald's, let's go. It's grounding. Grounding 101.
It's grounding. Yes.
Gosh, that is such a wild story.
Yeah, the picture thing is what still trips me out. Yeah, that's the only way I could describe it. It was just I could only see it in like stages, in flashes. And I also got the impression that I would not have seen it if it wasn't for like the sun coming up. Like it was almost translucent, but it was like this pinkish hue from that color. So that I could not deny. So I've been pretty weird ever since, I think. Thanks to that time.
Understandably. Yeah.
You saw clouds move intelligently, my friend.
Or X-Files screen memory of some sort.
That's so wild. I love how you described that effect because I feel like it resonates so much better that way. It's not like the first UFO sighting encounter that I've heard described similar to that, which is really fun and interesting. I was on Our Strange Skies months ago, and we were talking about like massive UFOs in the Yukon. And so Rob had me like study some cases, and we would like kind of have some banter about it, but also like educate everybody about the cases as we went along. And there was a case where there's an interesting anomaly with these lights in the woods, and it was like every few seconds it looked like a different photograph has been taking place like in the woods, and that the lights were kind of in different locations. But there were, it's hard to remember now, but there were certain things about these lights that set them apart, and it was because like of like looking at these in a photo like fashion, and that's how we could determine that it was something anomalous and not like something like bugs or whatever. And so it's a really interesting way to describe something in this arena of stories. to know that yours is not the only is really cool. But the clouds thing, man. I love
I will
that.
also say, sorry to cut you off. I will also say, so my dad, I think it's episode 40 of Euphomet is my dad's story. And I recorded that and did everything myself for that. So, oh yeah, I'm the editor and composer for Euphomet. So I'm the sound guy. But this story was my dad's story, and it's a really crazy, haunting story. But he describes this apparition dress that he sees, and he says it looks like black and white film. Like he could even see the like spots almost of film. So that I don't know, that weirds me out. And then the kittens thing, it's like it's perfect for me because I'm just like any shape it wants. Like me and Amalia always, research shape shifting kind of old legends of every type, and that's the thing that fascinates me the most. Is just I love that you asked for it though, and then they were like, "Yes, we'll oblige you with that."
Yeah. But like kittens, I mean, I guess.
Even
like,
your
he-
subconscious, if it
like-
was that, think that as well.
Yeah, I was really grateful, Pictures moving or kittens, it's all better than what it actually is.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, John, if you want to let people know how they can find you and kind of what you're up to, that would be so awesome. So everyone can go check out what you're about.
Yeah, totally. I am anomalous_John on most social media stuff, and then also just at Anomalous Waves. That's my podcast with my partner Amalia and Lilliput, who are watching this right now. But yeah, just go to Anomalous Waves on any podcast stuff, and that's us just rambling about shapeshifter folklore and me doing really campy over the top sound design. So check it out.
Campus King.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing that awesome story. We'll have to have you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime. I'd love to.
Awesome. We got our first guest. We did it. He was great.
This whole time my kitten's been attacking my foot.
Oh, no. Ranger's like pacing like an old man. He's just like...
I miss that boy.
Oh my gosh. Of course he misses you too. He misses you too. Man. Oh, I got a nugget here. Hi. Who will bite me completely if I try to pick her up. I tried that earlier today and she let me know that I fucked up. I fucked up hard. Hi, do you want to come up here? Oh, do you want us to come say hi? No, she got shy. Can you hear her breathing?
Yes.
I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Man, what a cool story.
I love that. Like pictures moving.
I know, and like the UFOs they looked just like clouds. But you can tell by their movement that they weren't. Oh my gosh. Like how does that like affect your like, your version of reality after that?
Exactly.
I can do these things.
Exactly. Like that's what I think is so cool because like he was saying, like I'm that same way where it's like, going through like the skeptics like checklist.
Yeah,
I do the exact same thing. And so I know that if I saw it, I'd be like, oh, well, like it's like I trust myself, but also what the hell is this? Like that would break my brain. That would absolutely break my brain.
She's so yeah, I know, right? It's like you're guaranteed to be a little weird. be a weirdo. We're better for it. I'm kind of like catching up on the comments because I was so zoned into his story.
I know, me too.
Before our next guest pops in, I'm like, I know Katie, yes, that's what I was thinking too. I just don't, yeah. A lot of things in the last few days, I know on Kitty and Bex Live last night, and then today, obviously, with John's story, like Nope keeps coming up. And so I feel like it's almost a WUFO necessity at this point. I know that Tenny may not agree. Sorry. But I really like it. And a lot of the type of phenomena we're talking about, you know, happens. And it's very abnormal to see in a UFO movie, but so, you know, normal within our circles. So it's nice to see that.
I still need to see it, so
I will give you my Apple TV login because it's on there.
ooh, that's good to know. I was gonna say it's
I don't
like
think you have to rent it.
yeah, on ours it's like $20 to rent, and it's like I'd rather go to a movie theater if I'm gonna do that.
Okay, yeah. I thought it got off rent, but I could be wrong. If someone knows in the comments, please let us know. Oh, guess what? We have someone popping in, one of our surprise guests. This guest is gonna stay with us through the live contact session too. So that's interesting because of her work, what she does. It'll be even more exciting than normal. So if Katie's ready, we'll have her pop on. She's working 2 nights in a row, do this streaming thing.
Everybody, nobody's ever gonna get sick of me because I'm perfect and I've done nothing wrong ever in
That
my
Libra.
life.
It's true. It's true.
Libra energy. What did you do, Katie?
No, it's objectively true. I'm the
Nothing,
scientist here.
ever.
Katie's perfect.
Money, please.
Yeah, for a good
Money,
year.
please.
Oh my goodness. You know the law now. If you got a crush, you gotta report it. Law.
Yes, it's true. It's Libra season. If you have a crush on me, you are legally obligated to tell me. Legally. I wish I have a shirt that says "See you in court" on it, and I'm fucking serious. You know what's actually really funny is I have some shirts that say things like, you know, kill the cop in your head, and, you know, things that are a little like abrasive at first like glance perhaps, unless you think about it. But that shirt, the shirt that says "See you in court" in the Law and Order font, also it's in the Law and Order font, so it's obviously a Law and Order t-shirt. That shirt gets the most like negative reactions out of everything I've ever worn in my life. And I'm really confused by it because I thought that was like just something we all accepted. As I thought we all liked Law and Order as a society. No. People are very offended that I will see them in court.
They know they'll lose. That's why.
They're like, shit, this bitch will sue.
Oh my goodness.
I
I
will.
love it so much. Oh my gosh. Can we wear that in our band pictures? Please. Again, I said we're gonna collectively wear that shirt, I guess.
Yeah, I do have 2 of them. I bought one for Tristan and he doesn't wear it. So I do have an extra. If anyone's trying to wear the "See You in Court" shirt.
I think every WUFO needs one. We'll all just wear one.
Yeah. Like,
And that way everyone will know.
Yeah.
We're getting a huge list of like t-shirt ideas from the last couple of shows, so I'm really excited about it.
I'm like very serious about the crock pot witches t-shirt. So
Okay.
artists like out there, I really, really want a picture drawn of Bex and I holding a crock pot that says "Crock Pot Witches" underneath us. And I will pay you like a little bit of money to make it. I will give someone $50 if they will draw that.
Oh.
So.
All right, you guys, it's official.
I literally want it so bad. I have a great press here that will print the t-shirts for us or print on bags or whatever people want. I just am very serious. I really need this in my life.
Did
You have no idea how much the recipes, like there's only been 2 shared, Jeremy's that I made him share and another, but both recipes on the internet have given me so much life that like I want this to be a thing. So 1, draw the crockpot witches, somebody. 2, please continue to share crockpot recipes and like tag us. Bex, I'm dragging Bex into this because she's in the show with me, so she's a part of this now. And tag us in all your crock pottery. I love it. It's literally giving me life.
I'll add one. I think I have one or two.
Yeah. Show the world you're a good cook. I'm like not a good cook, and I'm like, I put baby grands in the crock pot, guys.
Me, that's me.
Yeah, with
like that's
cheese.
like my sister. Like, there's a lot of people out there that need that.
Yes,
I'm just like really. I put a lot of effort into things that don't really matter on the grand scheme of things. A lot of the times, and that's food. I guess
what
matters
are you
to
talking
me.
about?
Matters.
Matters to
Hello.
me.
You
No,
are
taste
one of the gods on this planet. You have to like, what offerings are you giving yourself?
Oh yeah.
Listen, she made the best like late night cauliflower toast.
I believe it.
It was like Gordon Ramsay level, okay?
Yeah.
Like, late night, she's like, I'm gonna go make cauliflower toast. It was like so good.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. Holy shit, I forgot. Purple cauliflower too.
Yeah, it was cauliflower.
Yeah, I love a purple vegetable.
Me too. I'm obsessed
Especially
with purple potatoes.
a potato. Yeah.
We were talking about purple potato salad, and that was like the bowl of food I was gonna bring you whenever we meet.
Yeah. Is everybody going to Detroit November 4th? Everyone get your tickets to go to Detroit November 4th.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Gosh.
I don't know why.
We don't know why. Okay.
I don't know why.
I forgot what it is, but I
don't know
have
why.
a couple guesses.
I don't know why. I just think that everybody should go to Detroit on November 4th.
I wish I could. I don't know why.
You should just like drive up again, Adler. Like that was such a quick trip.
Listen, I would, but that's literally like a week before my PhD candidacy exam.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna be throwing.
Can we crowdfund a ticket for Adler? They're literally like $250 round trip right now.
And like for someone,
they are for November 4th.
That info.
I literally looked today.
Oh, perfect. This is recent. This is fresh.
This is today.
Happening right now. So I think it's really cute and fitting. I kind of had in the notes that once we had Katie on, we're talking, about Adler's dream where these assumed aliens turned into kittens.
Right.
And we have a lot of cat synchronicities within WUFO since the beginning.
Yep.
I know that Katie has a cat that knows too much.
Yep.
And a whole cat alien story that goes along with it. And so I would love it if you would share that for us and everyone listening.
Well, first of all, I think aliens in general are pretty accustomed to becoming what we need to digest them. So I think when you said like you don't want to see them and them showing up as kittens, that makes total sense because they know that's what you want to see, whether it's because you've been observed or they're in your subconscious or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I think that is a totally valid like form of being like, okay, well, here we'll make ourselves something you like. I also kind of can't think of a better way to communicate with someone. Like if you think about it as like a ghost hunter, if you could transform into something that made like the entities in the space like way more comfortable into like a ghost while you were there or something like that, like wouldn't that be such a game changer? You'd be so less threatening, you would get so much more information, like you might actually have like a real like consensual conversation, like yeah. So man, imagine having that power as an alien to shapeshift into something that makes somebody less fearful. Right. But anyway, yeah. I have a cat that knows too much, according to the aliens. And when I talk to my cat that knows too much about the aliens, of course, he's in the next room sleeping with my son right now. But when I said goodnight to my son, they were under the covers together. It was really cute. So yeah. So he's in there doing that. So he's not going to come join us at all. But if I ever ask Argento about the aliens, I have to say the aliens. That's like the word he knows to like the creatures that or whatever we're talking about. I'm like, so have you talked to the aliens? He'll just immediately just start talking, and he just has like so much to say. And I'm like, okay, well, great. And so I try to record those conversations when they happen. Maybe he'll join us at some point because, oh, you guys, did you hear him?
That's Genty.
That is him right now. Genty, did you hear that I was talking about the aliens? Have you talked to the aliens recently? Do they say hi to me? Oh.
He said, nah.
He's like, I did, but you don't need to know about it. See ya.
I don't want to talk to you, Mom.
That was so funny. I literally was like,
incredible.
the minute I say the aliens, he has so much to say, and he literally came in the room to say shit.
Passed out 5 seconds.
Literally was passed out under the blankets with my son and came in here.
It's like the alien. It's like, no, listen, I have shit to say. My cat is destroying something.
He's like, yeah. So
my-
basically, y'all, if you have not heard this story yet, I'm trying to fix this one piece of my bangs. It's very difficult in this. It's backwards. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, look at this little baby. Hello, little baby.
Baby
Hello,
Ken.
little baby.
He's absolutely batshit right now.
Look at those paws. Look at those little
Show us
paws.
the-
Oh, look at the beans. Oh. Oh, is Argento back? Hey, Argento. Have you talked to the aliens lately? Hey.
Like, I don't want to. Can't disclose my secrets.
Yeah, he does talk to up till a certain point, and then if I start asking more specific questions about the aliens, he gets very quiet. I'm not allowed to know. But anyway, okay. For those of you that don't know the story, I'll try to keep it brief because I feel like I've told it on a million podcasts before, and there's been a lot of opportunities for people to hear the story. So I don't want to repeat it too much. However, it's a really good one. It's probably my favorite contact I've had because it's just so silly. But Tristan was like, I don't know, like 4 at this time. Like this was a while ago. Actually, it was before 2016 because that was the year I got sober. And so it was before that because I was dating a dude that I drank a lot with. And he was actually drunk, passed out next to me when this happened. But anyway, so yeah, Tristan was like 4. And I'm laying in bed. That's Argento. Argento, I'm telling the story about the alien that said you know too much. Do you remember that story? Do you know too much? I don't even know if he's in the room anymore. Oh, yeah, he is. Hey, Genty, I'm telling the story about how you know too much. Do you want to come up and tell the story with me? Come here. BB's like, I have BB directly next to me. Boink. Boink. And she's like, absolutely not. He is not coming up here. Okay. He'll participate. Oh shit. What did I just do? I touched the screen. Okay. He'll participate if he wants to. Anyway. So I'm laying in bed and I'm laying on my side and my face is facing my door and my door is cracked. I have cats. And I can see the doorway to Tristan's room and my living room. So it's like a trio zone. And I hear like footsteps walking around my house, but I honestly didn't think too much of it at the time. I lived on the 2nd floor of an apartment building. So footsteps, could have been from anywhere, even though it did like, when you live in an apartment building, you get really good at telling like where the footsteps are. So I felt like they were in my apartment, but again, it's really easy to just like debunk and be like, it's got to be somewhere else. So I'm laying there, you know, Mike was a snorer, so I'm struggling. I'm not sleeping very well. I got my eyes open and I see these work boots walk across the way and into Tristan's room. And I was like, hello? And no answer. And I was doing Haunt Me at the time, so like ghosts were very much on the brain. I had already had UFO and alien experiences, so all this stuff is like in my brain, you know what I mean? So I don't immediately think it's like a person, even though I see like work boots go by. Because I call out and nobody, wait, did I call out? Now I'm struggling to remember the story. I feel like I wanted to call out and I never called out because I was scared it was a person. The story's so old, you guys. I'm doing a really bad job at telling it. Okay.
You're doing great.
So anyway, I see the work boots come out of Tristan's room again and they start coming towards my door. Like they're coming in, like the door is starting to move. So I shut my eyes. And I feel like, I don't remember, I had to have rolled over at that time because I wouldn't have rolled over while they were in the room because I was definitely scared. So I was laying on my back and I could like, I had my eyes shut, but you know how like when there's light in the room, you can still kind of see shadows. Like I can see my hand going back and forth right now. You know what I mean? And so all of a sudden I'm like laying there and this bright pink light shines down from my ceiling. Again, second floor apartment. So what the fuck? It's so bright pink in my room and I can see these like shadows like walking around my bed to me and like at the end of my bed. And then one of them gets right up right in front of my face and blocks all of the light. It's just like it is right now actually for me. And like telepathically tells me that Argento knows too much, but he said it didn't say like the cat's name. It said it like showed me Argento. It didn't like describe him, but it kind of described him. It didn't say Argento at all though, but I knew it was Argento. And it said two other things and I've never been able to recall what those are ever since, like the whole time. Ooh. I never even say that part of the story because I don't know what they are.
Ooh, that would bother me forever.
I know. I hate thinking about it.
Oh no.
And actually that happened before my son, that same boyfriend, and I started waking up with iodine stains all over our body in really weird places. And then months after that, I broke up with that dude and I had started to hang out with somebody else. So like 6 to 8 months later, I started having those like weird like metal pieces coming out of my fingers. So lots of weird stuff. And then the most recent is like in a dream state. Like a friend and I had a abduction dream on the same night and we were in each other's dreams. So that was really weird.
Don't like that.
No, that's my most recent. Yeah, my most recent situation has come to me via dream. And my friend Lou and I had them at the exact same night.
That's
pretty weird stuff.
Wild.
Pretty weird stuff.
No, if that happens, I'll throw up. There's no way.
I think the physical stuff is it for me. Like,
yeah, the physical stuff is creepy.
It's invasive.
The iodine stains went on for months, like at least 4 months. Like, because like I woke up with them first and I would have them in weird spots. Like I would have them like on the top of, like not on like veins, like you would kind of think. Like I would have them on the top of my arm. I would have it like on like the inside of my arm. And I would have my legs, my stomach, lots on my stomach. And it took like, I mean, you could not scrub that shit off in the shower. Like I would like scrub because I worked at, I think I worked at Lush at the time. Because I worked at a place that like I also had my hands in soap and was like constantly trying to like get the iodine stains off because like you look like I have all these iodine stains on my body. I don't even want people to see them. You know what I mean? It's fucking weird. So it would take like a solid like 2 weeks for them to like go away. And when one person's started to go away, then the other person would have one. So none of us really had the iodine stains at the same time necessarily, but like a little bit. And so yeah, so it was like happening every 2 weeks, and we all went through it 3 times. So it was months of iodine stains. Very annoying.
Annoying. Yeah, it's definitely one word for it. Man.
Yeah, annoying.
Thank you for like, yeah, sharing that. I know that that's one that you've shared a lot, but it just like tied in so much with what
It does.
we're talking
I know.
about.
It's perfect. Yeah.
And I think that like everyone can agree with me that every time you hear it, it's just like, you know, it takes your breath away.
Yeah, sadly, it's like such an old story now. I'm missing some of the details, but the important stuff in my mind is the pink light, the work boots, and like I don't understand the being in my face and like telepathically like talking to me, but yeah.
Yeah. Whew. So this is exciting. We actually have one more guest that's going to be joining us for the last few minutes of the East Coast show. And this guest is actually at a very special location. So I'm going to have her pop on and explain a little more. Hi, Courtney.
Hi. Oh my God, Courtney.
Hello.
Sasquatch Thunder.
Thunder. That's incredible.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I went to Sasquatch Thunder is like my answer for like I'll put it this way. I went to a little gathering a couple weeks ago, and we played this little game. And I forget what game it was, but you pull out cards, and like maybe they're a little spicy or something, and you answer questions. And one of the cards was if you wrote an erotic novel, what would the title of it be? And I was like, yes, Sasquatch Thunder. Sasquatch Thunder. Yes.
Incredible.
Would read.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I need it on my coffee table.
That
Wow,
so that
what a coffee table book.
I know.
Absolutely.
But I was like, oh my God, I was listening to that story that you just told, Katie, that personal experience. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just like enraptured by it.
They're pretty intense. Yeah.
So that's like super interesting because Bex, like you, mentioned that I'm somewhere. I am actually visiting. I'm in North Carolina. I'm visiting Duke University and the Parapsychology Archive.
Yes, I've been seeing your tweets. If you are not following Courtney on Twitter, everyone should be following Courtney.
Oh my gosh, but your story just was making me think about specifically this one researcher who was actually also a librarian, Rhea White. She coined the term exceptional human experience. And that's what she liked to use to describe, these, they could be paranormal or, these like, just, I don't know, all these sorts of moments in our lives that are sort of mystical or strange, or she calls them EHEs, exceptional human experiences.
Wow, I love that.
I love that.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. It's so wild. And like today I got to like hold like the first like pack of Zener like ESP cards that was ever like created. It's just, oh my God, you guys, archives are just like, they're wild. They're so fun.
Oh man.
That's so cool that you get to do that.
Yeah, and we're all like living through. You're kind enough to share it with us all on Twitter and maybe Instagram too. I haven't checked everything, but like we're on this journey with you, and it's just like we're discovering things. It's so exciting.
Well, and it's pretty like I love just like highlighting these institutions and like reminding people you can find like really cool stuff in like your libraries and archives and like sometimes too you don't have to be like in person to go visit, like they have ways of like, digitizing stuff and helping you get access to things. And well, anyways, yeah. So
I love that so much. So what are some other things that you coming across right now, or like what's is this trip for anything special? Tell us more.
Oh, okay. So this trip, I am on sabbatical right now. I work at a university, and I I am on sabbatical. And when you go on sabbatical, they give you that time to work on like special projects and so forth. My special project was having the time to come travel down here and spend like a whole week in the archives and just dig through stuff. And in particular, I'm really interested in the life of that woman that I just talked about, Rhea White, because she was a librarian like me, and she was into parapsychology, and she actually like coined like this whole term. And like, oh my God, I wanted to know more about her. And I think you guys, like, I think I uncovered like this love story between her and like another researcher. And I don't want to say too much about it yet, but I also know that's probably like annoying that I'm like, oh, I just like found these like steamy love letters in the archives. And that's all I'm going to say.
Honestly, that's like good. I like a tease, so it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very, very much.
Wait.
I love it.
There are loads of cool digital archives that are free in the yes. Oh my gosh. But it was so funny because like I'm coming across these letters and I'm just like sitting there like I'm like, I hope nobody sees me just like silently weeping at my little library table here. And my friend Alicia, like I was telling Tidy Tarot, like I was telling her all about it, because she's, in library program, and she totally gets it. And she was like, I bet you that like the librarians were just like, oh, she just found the letters. I think we found another one.
Oh, wow. That's so I can't wait to hear more about like this as the story unfolds. I'm just gonna be like, my hooks are in it.
We're all invested now. This is,
I know. And like, you guys, it was like this love story between these two women, and it was in the 1950s. And like, I'm just like, there's so much here. And I'm just like, I'm loving everything about it. But I don't know quite how their story unfolds or ended. So I'll just have to keep digging.
Okay, we need Sasquatch Thunder and then a novel about this.
Yes.
They could be
That's too
book,
much
I don't
to
know.
ask.
I know, right? That'll be what I do. I'll be like, I'll go back to like the university, and they'll be like, so how was your sabbatical? What did you do? And I'll be like, I wrote the wildest erotica you could ever believe.
Yep.
Yes. I'm so supportive of this.
I like never know. I'm always surprised at like the things that I say, like when I like hop onto these things. Like, have I really just said the word erotica now like 3 times? Yes.
In reference to Sasquatch, yes.
Yes.
This is a normal Wednesday night activity. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Absolutely.
I was
my
on the
God.
phone with one of my friends before this, and I was like, he was like trying to figure out what I was doing tonight. And I was like, oh, well, it's Wednesday, so we summon aliens tonight. And he's like, oh, yeah. Sorry, I can't hang out tonight.
The best.
You guys. Sorry, I can't hang tonight. It's WUFO.
Yeah.
Or hang, it's WUFO. I don't know. Flip side.
Yeah. Don't you know about Wednesdays?
That's what I told other grad students. They're like, what? And I'm like, listen, that's when you look for UFOs. And they're like, okay. And they walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Probably need to know.
I love that.
Who wants to join us can join us. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about what you're up to this week. We're all going to watch on Twitter. If you want to get more of Courtney, she's going to be co-presenting this week at Pan Paracon. So Courtney, if you want to talk a little more about that for a sec, and then we'll go into a quick intermission.
Yeah, along with like you guys, like, oh my gosh, right? Like Bex and Adler and like Katie, are you presenting? I couldn't remember.
No, I did last time.
That's okay. I think that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all the cool people. I'll be presenting along with Alicia at Tidy Tarot Co. And we are gonna be talking about research and cool, but we're gonna make it fun. It's gonna be fun. Like we're gonna show you all these free resources and like, yeah.
That sounds sick.
So hype. So hype.
Yeah. I'm really excited to listen to like you guys, like Bex and Adler and like everybody else. I'm like, I'm just excited for like just everything, everyone that's going to be there.
Only nonsense is going to come out of my mouth, so don't be as excited for me.
No, it'll be the best. It'll be the best. Are you kidding? That's like,
It'll be the best. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. So many people. Okay. Thank you so much, Courtney. We will talk again soon. We'll have to have you back like ASAP.
yes. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
I'll see y'all later.
Okay. So it's about that time. Courtney's the best. Oh my gosh. Love
No.
it.
Coolio died.
Oh.
Coolio.
That was Bex's reaction.
Oh. We've been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Oh.
That's really unfortunate. I fucking
It's like Leslie Knope when whoever it was like died. I sad.
I need this intermission. Really bad. Okay. Damn. Courtney with the awesome archives, and then Katie with the news, latest news. So we are gonna take like a really quick couple minute intermission, and then the three of us will be back, and Garrett, Jeremy, Jim will be joining us, and we'll be doing a live contact session together as a group. So I'm gonna play that intermission video like a pro right now, and then we'll be back in about 5 or so. Let me see if I can do it.
And now, before the next show starts, let's enjoy an intermission. You'll find our snack bar chock full of good things to eat and drink. Tasty, tempting hot dogs, thirst-quenching soft drinks, fresh, crunchy popcorn, a complete assortment of delicious candy, and a full line of cigarettes. You've plenty of time, so visit the snack bar now. A tasty treat will double your enjoyment of the show. For your convenience, we shall keep you informed of the remaining intermission time, 3 minutes before the next show starts.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
The next show will start in 2 minutes.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Just a minute, folks. Yes, that's all it takes to visit our refreshment counter in the lobby. There you'll find popcorn and an assortment of popular candy bars to please every taste. Try one of these delicious candy bars. Big Time, Butternut, Milkshake, Payday, topped with Hollywood's super rich coating of the kind you like best. They taste wonderful, they're delicious, they're nutritious. Get one at our confection counter in the lobby now. The next show will start in 1 minute.
Hello there.
Hi there. Hi, everyone.
I heard you like to talk to plants around this place.
I do. It's nice to meet you, Mr. UFO Gord.
Pleased to meet you too, sir.
How's everyone doing? It's good to see everyone.
Is that Jim Perry?
Is that my old friend UFO Gord?
New Eras.
Hi, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know. I have a feeling that's Jeremy as a puppeteer right now.
I could see him being like a Victorian era puppeteer. Like, he's doing a great job.
All right. I went that one on long enough. I just look at this thing though.
It's gorgeous.
I found it at the store. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I thought maybe we have our first weird recurring character.
So, are we gonna do a big group? Oh, Jim's here. Jim just came in.
Hi, Jim.
We're gonna interview him a little bit later, but I think we're gonna try to do a big group contact session again because that went really well last time. I feel like.
Yeah.
Does anyone have an idea of who or what we want to contact, or should we just?
You had talked about Jupiter.
Yeah, I feel like there's either Jupiter or, as in the video that people may have just seen, that asteroid we just hit with a satellite. So
that wrecked me.
That was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to do Jupiter? Should we go to Jupiter? How are people feeling about that?
Did you ever find the record? So there's a reason, right? Like, can you?
Yeah. Okay. So on Monday, I think Jupiter was like the closest it's been in like it's going to be like in 150 years or something like that. Maybe Adler knows more about this. And you can apparently listen to Jupiter from your house with ham radio and like listen to what it sounds like. And I was trying to find audio of it. I mean, there is a live stream currently broadcasting. It's just nothing is happening right now, so I couldn't use that audio. But I thought maybe like we are close to Jupiter, so maybe we should try to contact. I don't know if people are see what's going on in Jupiter.
Heck yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna play the Tenny sounds, the carrier wave. You can actually access that yourself just by going.
Not the intermission anymore.
You can access that yourself anytime, just at that URL. And anyone here who wants to go under and just visualize going to Jupiter and meditating on that. We're not going to necessarily say anything out loud during that period of time. We're just going to be listening and visualizing, and at home, if you want to do that as well. And you could do art, you can meditate. And just try to remember what you heard or saw in your visualization. And then we'll all just talk about it afterwards. That's the kind of the plan. And so this is open to anyone to help do this with us. I'm trying to think of anything else. Does that make sense? Let's see.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to switch the audio real quick.
How long are we going?
Okay.
I have these. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're symbols. They're the seal or character of Jupiter, the sigil of the intelligence of Jupiter, and the sigil of the spirit of Jupiter, from Cornelius Agrippa.
Ooh. Maybe we should.
You can totally think of one of those symbols too while you're.
Yeah, I think Jupiter is like associated with the number 3 too. If that means anything to anybody, if you have any associations there.
What were you gonna say, Garrett? Should we tweet it?
Yeah, just tweet it without saying anything about it.
Okay. I'm doing it.
Cool. And can everyone hear this?
I'll tag it WUFO.
How long do you want to do it for, Garrett?
This will just go until whenever. So, you want to do 20 minutes, or we have 15 minutes maybe? Want to do that?
Let's do that.
Jeremy, do you want to cut us off?
Yep, 15 minutes. You got it.
All right. Someone's feeling. I hear myself there.
I think you're good now. The bell wasn't too shocking, was it? I thought the bell would be nicer than me saying, like, it's time.
That's what I was expecting. I was like preparing.
Speaking of time, I have a special WUFO drink we.
Ooh, yum.
That and pumpkin pie almond creamer.
He is actually doing pickle juice and creamer, y'all.
I'm going to do it, you guys.
No.
Amber said I could only do it if I brought a bucket with me. There we go. Does anyone want to talk about their experience, the East Coasters, while I... Oh, it's starting to curdle, you guys.
You're making yogurt.
Oh my gosh, I will gladly. Gee whiz, Garrett, this is really
No, why do you keep drinking it?
It's a special occasion.
It's a special...
We only get pumpkin pie flavor for a short period of time.
You're alive for a short period of time. You don't need to put that in your body.
If it was just cream and like pickle juice, I could see like maybe like Havarti dill. Like there's that's but the pumpkin.
He's eating the pickle.
Oh my god. I commend
That's
you.
the party.
This is a party.
Kiki drew a fun pigure of the eye on Jupiter and heard who is watching.
Who's watching? Oh wait, who's watching who?
That's what some of my oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta read this now. Okay. So I didn't get like a whole lot, but what I did was really interesting to me. So I got a lot of imagery of like pink cotton candy, but just like holding it, but all sorts of different perspectives of it. And then I heard someone say, "So thirsty." And then I started seeing purple clouds and purple grass imagery, like a whole scene. It's just this very bright violet. But then I was wondering if that was perhaps like, how like certain insects and bees have like that ultraviolet vision. So I was like, am I just seeing like, green grass and plants through this lens? And then I started hearing this really weird, like exaggerated voice on top of the sounds that I've never heard before. Listened to the waves a lot at this point, and it was like very throat singy, but like deeper bass than I think anyone could sing. Very strange. But then I also heard like this normal chatter, like conversation, but I couldn't make it out. But it was also something that I haven't heard before on the carrier waves for like a brief moment. And then I started seeing this orange, like bendable balloon, but it was the lowercase cursive F, and it was just floating F, haha. I get that now. Lots, chatter. And then I heard someone yell chapstick. And then this is where it gets kind of creepy and interesting. I heard someone kind of come through and say, "I've been staring at you. I am the seer. We just want to be here." And then the last thing I saw imagery-wise was like green gummy worms that were glowing, and just like a whole lot of them on the table. And then Bell.
Wow.
That's my experience. Lots of breakdown there. Garrett, you pointed at something while I was speaking. It was
the voice. I had never heard that. There's a deeper voice that I hadn't heard before. Kind of like father figure, like someone kind of talking to you, like having like a serious conversation with you, like low voice, like slow and low. That's what I had never heard that before. I couldn't make out what the words were. But I noticed that too. I was like, I haven't heard this before.
Wow.
Right. I hadn't either. I thought that was so interesting. Okay. Experience that too.
Yeah.
What does it all mean?
Katie or Adler, do either of you do you have anything you want to share with the class?
Sure. I went on a pretty interesting trip. So like when I start to meditate, I like will shoot like a beam of light, like chakra style, like out the top of my head and down through the root. And something like met my beam at the top with its own beam. And so I just kept like following the beam of light, and I ended up in this like row of hands. They were all like red and purple, and I was like walking through, but I was like being like pushed through all these like rows of hands, and that went on for kind of like a long time, and then I ended up like being like it was really weird. It was like it looked like a slingshot, like how like if you took a swing set and you put a giant elastic like through it. But instead of like flinging me off, it like flipped me up, and I was like up on this like rocky level, and I was looking out over this like bush, and the bush was like really thick. It looked like it was made of like clay. It was like thick and it was brown, and somebody was next to me. I don't know if anybody else was like looking through bushes, but there was somebody next to me, and I actually thought it was one of you guys. That's the vibe I got. I don't know who it was. I was like waiting to see if anybody said they were in a bush. Because it felt like one of you guys. And that was really it. We were just like staring out, and I was thinking to myself, I kept thinking to myself, stop studying this bush and look out. But it was actually kind of like, excuse me, the colors that like Bex was talking about. It was very like not candy corn. Ooh, I'd love to eat some candy corn. It was very like cotton candy colors. And like a field. There wasn't like that much to look at. I just went back to looking at the huge, thick-leaved bush. That was fine. The leaves were heavy. It was like clay. It was crazy.
That's so weird. Honestly, I did see bushes, but I don't know if it was the same bush, because like
it might just our mind's bush. Maybe that's my mind's bush.
It's your mind's bush. Well, yeah, because when I did it, I was like, mind's
New
bush.
punk band.
Everybody, where's your mind's bush? Because we're all going to it. So a wild night. But like I was seeing, and I was just like, no, this is me being like, oh, it's Jupiter. You know, I was like the orange colors and like a desert. And I was like, does Jupiter have land? I was like, I should know this. But anyway, I was like seeing like a desert under like all these like really pretty clouds. I kept seeing like a rock slice. You know, they have like those banded formations like around them. I kept seeing that. And then I was like walking on this road through this desert. And then I came out at like a country road, like an intersection in the middle of nowhere. And like all the colors were like too bright. Like everything was kind of neon. But there was like a wall of thick ass bushes. Like they seemed real thick with like a fence behind it and like houses and stuff. But at that intersection where like these two roads meet, again, middle of nowhere, there was like where there should be a sign. There was, it was like Tiger's Eye. Where there should have been like a sign, there were 3 crosses sat there with this like purple bush. And it was also like it when you said like it looks like the bush is made of clay, the flowers kind of look like they were made of like clay. Like they were thick. It was weird looking. It was almost like a kid drew them with crayons, but they were really detailed. Like it was like, okay. And it was like, I was standing there and it was like, you need to leave this. Like, what are you doing? Like, go. Like, because there's somebody like died there or something is what, there's crosses. And it was like, why are you standing here? This is sad. So it's like, okay. And then I heard all that, those deep voices I hear all the time. And so that voice was familiar to me. So I don't know. I thought that was cool. Everybody heard that. But at one point I heard very, very clearly like a whole conversation. And it was saying all their eyes are closed and they're all sitting here. And then I heard the word astral. And then I heard she's on our channel. We're having a conversation. I don't know who that was. It had to be one of us 3. It wasn't me. So Katie or Bex, someone was having a conversation. And then it said, I'm sure she's been over here in our universe. And I was like, okay. And then I saw like a brain, but it was like, and this kind of reminded me of Katie's too, but they were like this, it was really dark maroon-ish purple, and the lines in the brain were like neon red. And it was like glowing. It was just the brain. And then there was a little tiny blue isopod like attached to the brain. And I was like, I hate that. And so like, can we leave this? And so left that. And then I was back in the desert with this huge neon sign. I'll try to draw it better and post it on Twitter, but it was a weirdly shaped neon sign. It was like super bright yellow, like edging, and then this bright pink, like inside, and it was in the desert, and it was like this weird thing. And it was like, I feel like we need to go there. And then the last thing I saw, which is I started laughing, but I've submitted one story, the Liminal Earth map, about seeing theater masks in a tree. And the last thing that I saw was in like that, just like space, kind of like, whatever you see when you close your eyes. There were those same theater masks just popping in and out all through my field of vision. And it was like, oh, hello, welcome back. Weird.
Full circle moment.
Yes.
That was real weird. First time I've seen them since I was 8. So.
Wow.
Interesting. So many things already. What does it have to do with Jupiter?
How's your stomach feeling, Garrett?
It's not feeling too great, to be honest. I kind of regretting that now.
Oh my god.
But I'm gonna push through. We'll be good.
He's pushing through. Oh my gosh.
That was really awesome. I'm very curious about this bush, and if there's any bush relation. I know if there's any relationship between Jupiter and if there's any bushes Okay. Just like if there's any association there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, we should.
mythologically,
People need to
or-
do some. We need to Google that.
I'm gonna
Fair
Google
enough.
Jupiter's bush.
I wonder if you each could draw a leaf from it or something.
Oh yeah.
Do that
Says,
tonight.
did you mean juniper bush? That's what the internet says.
Like, yes, exactly. That's what we saw as a juniper bush. Yes.
Oh, you're trying to get Jupiter? That I'm Juniper. I'm sorry. Jupiter's the next
Wrong
one over.
number.
Gosh, I started a thread, everybody, by the way. So I screenshotted like my notes. Feel free to do the same if you want, and we can all compare notes.
I'm wondering if we can also continue it after this and try to dream about going to Jupiter. So then tomorrow, if people have dreams, if there's maybe some follow up.
Honestly, Thursday is a great day to do work with Jupiter because it's ruled by Jupiter.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh. Why didn't I even think of this? I was just, when we were texting about contacting Jupiter earlier today, I texted those sigils to Garrett and Bex, and then I texted like a list of Jupiterian correspondences, basically, and one of them was the boxwood bush. Like boxwood, have you seen that? It's like a really common ornamental landscaping plant. Like Bex, I know you've seen boxwood.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have seasons. It's an evergreen.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That looks close to what I saw, though. Like with
there
the
could be like
bushes,
Mine
but like
had
the little
bigger
one
leaves.
that's purple and flowering, that I think is closer to what.
Mine was actually closer to the juniper.
Okay.
But it had like
bush now.
leaves. I don't know.
I feel like the plant police. I need like you guys to do like a drawing each, and then I'm gonna go into my little database and I'm gonna find the plant that you saw.
Mine could have been a succulent.
That's kind of what I almost thought with the flowering one.
Yeah, thick.
Yeah. Yeah, thick.
Yeah, there's tons. So, I mean, we can like do a deep dive into the plants associated with Jupiter.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking about that gourd.
What gourd are you talking about?
The only.
You know what that gourd reminds me of? The female gremlin. She has like the green one with the
talking about that. Totally.
I love it so much. Oh man.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, these things they don't it'll dry out inside and harden, and I can keep it forever. So.
Oh my god, cool.
I wonder do you think it needs googly eyes, or do you think
lips for sure?
Googly eyes, lips?
Good style.
All right. Next WUFO, we'll have another appearance.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, on that note, it's about time for me on the East Coast to hop on off for now, but I'm excited to watch back the West Coast show, and I'm excited to see all of it. But I hope you guys have a good rest of the show. This was really awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, everyone post some stuff on Twitter. Try to go there in your dreams, and yeah, we'll keep talking. We'll keep going.
Bex, I'll see you on Sunday. Oh, she's out of here.
She's gone.
I'll see Bex on Sunday.
Oh
Me too.
God.
I'm gone.
All right.
Bye.
Oh my god. Okay, go find your mental bush. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
All right.
Okay.
Now
What a send.
Hi Jim.
Hey.
It's so
how
good to
are we?
have you. I'm
Absolutely.
great. It's so good to see you and have you on the show.
I'm really excited to be here. This
The
is the
last time-
first sort of, this style of one. The last one of these I participated in was in person and was in the middle of a very dark campground out in the middle of nowhere.
That's true. With Bex, we were like, and we were trying to, we were at like a Maury Island, like what was that? Like some kind of event where the Maury Island incident.
Was it the film or was it the? It wasn't.
It
the
was like a
UFO
presentation about how the Men in Black started in during that time here in the Seattle area or Tacoma. So they're kind of advocating on that behalf, and we went to like a PowerPoint about it.
Vehemently advocating for their position.
Oh yeah,
there was a weird town rivalry being exposed. There's a lot of cloak and dagger community organization sort of stuff going on.
Yeah,
it was interesting. We felt like we were going to be indoctrinated really quickly if we would have stayed in any longer. There would have been some deputizing. Would that be right? Deputizing? Deputizing? Yeah, that would have gone on for sure. So we split kind of early, I think, as people were dressing as aliens out of nowhere. There was an alien costume present. We split early and we found a campground nearby where we just sort of invited ourselves into, and we found an empty space, and then we, did WUFO. It was great. It was good times. It was awesome.
We didn't have like the internet, so we couldn't stream from it, but we just did one on our own there and tried to contact aliens. And a weird mystery cat showed up. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bex ate your burrito. I remember that.
Oh yeah,
there's a video of that.
Is there a TikTok of that, or was there
TikTok? Yeah. Bex just chowed down on your burrito without and realized, wait, this is not what I ordered.
So it goes.
Funny. The last time the three of us were together, I was just talking about yesterday when I was on Katie and Bex Live, which is when we went to Fauntleroy Park in West Seattle and got Pixie Led. And then did Randonautica and put in like whatever you put in to do Randonautica, and it spit out the coordinates that were my house.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Dude, that was super weird.
Unreal.
Because we weren't near your house even at the time. I mean, we're in West Seattle, but happened to take us back to your house.
Yes.
That was super weird.
That was very strange. Yeah.
So
and cool. Very awesome.
That was a while back ago, and that was such a fun experience. And I'm glad that parts of that, some really fun parts, were included in a UFOmet feature we did, and we were able to take people along for that little ferry hunt. It was great.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So much fun.
So for people who don't know who you are, I don't know who wouldn't, but do you want to describe like what you do, your podcast and all your other stuff?
Sure. Yeah, I do a documentary podcast called UFOmet. In it are features of people who have had their lives transformed, changed, shaped by unknown events, sometimes paranormal, sometimes mystical, sometimes completely sort of unclassifiable. They're, at the end of the day, what I hope are intimate features in which people that are listening can connect to and find commonality within these stories of the unknown. Because at the end of the day, maybe we'll never explain any of this or most of this, but at least we can know that others are experiencing such wildness as us, right?
Right.
Make us feel a little less alone, maybe. And then I also do a weekly radio show out of Seattle called Night Drift. It's on AM radio, which I'm a very big fan of, and on the same podcast feed as UFOmet. So I've been doing that for a grip of years now, and it's kind of like my full-time gig. And along the way, have met both of you. And Garrett, we go way back with some exploits, with some museum installations that have caused quite a rip
ruckus
in the multiverse.
Yeah. So a long time ago, I had a radio. My wife and I started a radio station, and I think it was happening like right when Back to the Future, the year that Marty goes to the future, was that date was coming up. I can't remember, like 2014 or something. Is that when it happened? Anyways, it was the year that he goes back into the future, and so we thought we should do something around that. And also, I had just read about Stephen Hawking doing that experiment where he tried to throw a time travel party, but didn't announce he did that until the day after, because he figured if it was a time travel party, you could send the invitation the day after, and people should know to come. And he said no one showed up, so time travel must not be real. And I was like, well, maybe you threw a shitty party. So we decided to have our own. We and Jim and I worked on this, and we made a time traveling museum. And we had a time travel party, and we invited all time travelers, and a bunch of people showed up to that. And
that's really close to the time travel mailbox too, right?
Yeah, it's right next to the time travel mailbox. Yeah. Where I have the time letter from a time traveler. So all this stuff, and we made like a time travel museum where that was up there, and all these other artifacts that people have that prove time travel. It was a great little installation. We made some time travel sauerkraut, and you made this label on it. I remember it was really, I should look up for that picture. It was really great.
They were the actual company was really supportive of it as well.
Yeah,
for some reason, I believe we reached out to them for free product because we didn't want to buy the product in the store. We didn't want to spend $7.99 for some sauerkraut. So they gave us some product, I believe, and they were really, really cool about it.
It was Holy Kraut, yeah. They totally and you made like a real label that had like code on it that scripted the sauerkraut so that when you ate it, you would be able to time travel.
Which that later became OpenQNL, didn't it?
Yeah, totally. It was written in like this programming language for like scripting reality that we created.
Anyhow, that's neither here nor there.
But the thing was, we had made these shirts at the time. This is what I was getting to, and it said "Shitty Biff Future," and I had a picture of Biff from the Back to the Future, and it was kind of like we were joking that Donald Trump was going to become president, and like it was going to become the Shitty Biff Future. And the day of the time travel party was a year to the day of the election. And we didn't even realize it. So it must have been November 4th, 2014. No, 2015. Is that when yeah. One of those days. It was, and so like,
it would be,
yeah. So we were like Jim and I remember I felt sick to my stomach. It was like, oh shoot, did we like alter the timeline or something? Did we do something? Like it felt like very much like an Urkel moment or something. Yeah. So you can blame Jim and I. You can blame both of us for that.
For the 2016 election.
Yeah.
Way before the MCU was messing with multiverses and consequences of time.
Who was this?
The MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I had something really weird happen to me.
Oh yeah, you said that.
A second, like a little bit, and I don't know if we're ready to move on. Like I want to hear more from Jim for sure.
Yeah.
But before I
hear this,
I was thinking I might I might share what weird thing happened to me. So I was on Katie and Bex Live last night, and I was showing some of my new stuff. I've been taking this a course in folk magic from southern Italy, and one of the most common, and everybody's probably seen this, but like folk charms is the Simaruta or Kimaruta. So it's like a rue. It's a branch of rue, a sprig of rue. And each of the 3 branches on the sprig has like little symbols that mean things. And it's actually, some people think this symbol is where the practice of charms started. Like in general, because they had these, and you can there's a witchcraft museum in Benevento, Italy. and they have one of these from like the 1700s or something with all kinds of weird old charms. You can find it if you Google it.
That's so cool.
So I ordered a few just to like, they're not, the pendants aren't super easy to come by. So, and they included this as kind of a gimme, I think. Another charm, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's a hand. It's doing this, like this, and it's called the Mano Figa, and it means the fig. And this is like an insanely obscene gesture, but it's also known as like some of the best protection against the evil eye, the Malocchio. Like if you're walking down the street and somebody gives you a dirty look, you do this at them, not just to like flick them off, but also to keep them from cursing you, basically.
Wow.
So it's a good luck charm, and I think it's cool because I was reading up on it, and apparently the initial reason they considered it a dirty gesture was because they said it reminded them of like female anatomy or whatever. There's a resemblance there or something. So but they started wearing these around their neck because there was a belief that doing so would so like befuddle the devil, because he'd be like, ooh, something that looks like genitalia, and so he would not curse you because he would be so distracted by this thing.
All right.
And I'm like, how like kind of Italian-y is that, right? I mean, obscene gesture. Anyhow, that's not the weird thing that happened. That's just the buildup. So I had this little bag, and I put it in my pocket. And before we went to start WUFO tonight, I went to the other room because I wanted to grab something that my wife gave me recently for my birthday. It's this cool pendulum. It's really pretty. It's like obsidian.
Ooh.
And it's got this you might know the record. It's got this thing. It looks like I have an Aztec death whistle, and it kind of looks like that. You remember, Garrett?
Oh yeah.
So that's what she thought it would be kind of cool. So I'm futzing around here with the pendulum in the bag, and I reach in to get out the pendulum, and this is in there instead of in the bag that's been in this room since last night, and it's not in here.
So it moved bags somehow?
It moved bags or something.
Weird.
What?
Yeah, the bags were in two different rooms all night long.
Interesting.
So I don't know what the deal is with that, but that was a weird thing that just happened to me.
Is that it?
Right before we started the session.
Huh. Maybe you should. So did it move into the pendulum bag?
Yeah, it moved into the pendulum bag.
I'm wondering if we should use the pendulum for some purpose or something. Maybe
so.
Maybe it's like you need to use it, or I don't know. Maybe there's a reason it went there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still have that weird pendulum book.
Yeah, do you have that?
Yeah, I've got it here. Jim, have you seen this? This is it's bizarre. So it's pendulum charts. I have it screen. It's by Dale W. Olson, internationally renowned author and speaker. A BA in psychology and a master in transformational medicine. There he is.
Wonderful.
And the whole book is just charts with pendulum. So you use a pendulum to find your answer, and it's got all different like this one's healing remedies, and it's stuff like past life therapy, surgery, amino acids, like how to change my life. So if you really don't know how to change your life, then you can come here and use a pendulum, and it will tell you need to use more clearing statements, or perhaps you need to call on angels.
Oh.
But it also has automobile diagnosis.
Wow. Talk about getting very specific.
Something wrong with your car? Use your pendulum. It might be that you have a problem in your master cylinder or your front end lube alignment, which yes, So it's got house inventory. It's got a plant soil chart. It's got all kinds of fun stuff. We could use it for, we could try it.
Yeah, I wonder if there's one in there that kind of relates to what we were doing there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. Oh, there's a master chart. Use the pendulum and it will tell you what chart you
Okay,
need.
there you go. It has an option for everything. That's amazing.
There's totally like some sort of movie or story or something like that in this, where like a new pendulum page appears every day.
Right.
And it's like, this is what's happening tomorrow.
Wow.
From the makers of Jumanji.
Yeah, exactly. Well, should we do it now, or
I'm down.
I think so.
Yeah,
Let's
let's do it.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to be able to set it up yet, so you can sort of see.
Well, oh no, that looks great.
I mean, you won't be able to read what's on it, but
Yeah, but we can watch you do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this is the master chart that's going to tell us what chart to use. I can't guarantee I'm going to have super steady hands.
Okay, let's see what happens.
The chart it seems to be indicating right now is who is involved.
Ooh,
That seems pretty good.
Yeah.
that's spicy.
Yeah.
Who is involved? All right. Let me see if I can find who is involved.
The movement of pendulums
Mhm.
is it's hypnotizing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. They like kind of they don't know where they're going at first, and then they start to kind of like pick up speed and
Yeah,
they feel like
yeah.
deliberate. Like they're confident.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Who is involved?
Does that page have more information about like the context of that?
Not really. Each page has like sample questions, like who is involved in the present circumstances? Who was the cause behind this challenge?
Oh, so are we getting to the who moved the who moved the little charm?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Let's see.
A business associate.
Oh,
It was not me.
That's what it says.
Business associate.
Yeah.
what are you doing with that pickle juice, Garrett? Kind of
Oh,
strange
God.
mojo is happening.
That's
Is-
right. Yeah, is that why it moved?
Look at that.
Oh no.
That's what's going on in my stomach right now.
Man.
Some sort of
That's-
retrocausal thing. I think he needs the charm to get him through the night.
Maybe so.
So a business associate, though, that kind of, I mean, it could be someone from your work, right? Or Bex
Who
or
actually
I.
moved the thing?
Yeah,
No.
but like not physically, but
Oh.
like some kind of, they weren't there in your house, probably not moving it, but somehow. Do you know what I mean? Like something about
They
that.
were they the butterfly
Impetus.
flapping its wings?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Has anything like that happened to you before, Jeremy? A-port, D-port, something showing up or missing?
What about
somewhere?
that bird?
What
in the
about
house?
oh yeah, there was a bird that like just got what like appeared into the house. The house was completely closed off, like the flue was closed and everything. And we came home and bird in the house. Really weird. We also had unfortunately we had it was weird. We actually, now that I think about it, it's stranger than I realized because it was like a cardinal, like red cardinal, like throw itself down our chimney and die. Like,
wow.
But we don't have those here, do we?
I've never seen one.
No.
That's what it looks like. Maybe it was something, I don't know. I don't know birds that well, but it was all red, like totally red. So
yeah, could have been during a migration or something, and it was just like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, I still have some of its feathers too. I decided to keep. So
that's really interesting. I mean, it's a crazy phenomenon, and most people have experienced it in one way or the other, and maybe don't acknowledge the greater context of it, right? I mean, people go like, "Where's my keys?" "Oh, I swear to God, I didn't put my keys there." "Why are they in the mailbox?" or whatever, and they think like, "Oh, it was my cousin, or it was that kid, or I was drunk, or whatever else." But how many occasions are there on actual everyday folks that this happens to, and they go, "Oh no, it's like there's no possible way that could happen," you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
happened to
shrimpy.
me many times.
Shrimpy is the one who's doing it, stealing.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that it's the business is WUFO, and so it's maybe an associate of like the things that we are contacting here.
Yeah.
And one of the things I don't know how much you've shared about our thing on Saturday too.
Ours?
We're gonna do, yeah, the Pan Paracon.
Yeah, no, we
idea.
haven't shared anything.
Okay.
I mean, well, other than it was a cool idea, and that we're still probably going to be planning it like up until the presentation.
Well, I'm just wondering, wink, wink, if it has something to do with that.
Yeah, no, I totally was just going to say that. I think we could say
Okay.
what we're working on. So we have the Liminal Spirit Oracle, which is, of course, how to contact the liminal spirit by going of your surroundings by collecting like little bits of like pebbles and leaves and whatever you can find outside or wherever you're doing the casting, and using that to cast the lots, and then getting a reading thereby. And so one of the things that we've always wondered in that context is, what about when you're inside? What can you do if you're inside? And I think we're thinking like that's like a domestic spirit. That's like a home spirit, a house spirit. Those have been in every single culture, probably since the Stone Age. Like there's a spirit that it lives where you live, and you can establish some kind of relationship with it. So what we're doing is we've been working on concepts where we're trying to think about how to interact with like a house spirit. So like a Tamta or a Brownie or a Pixies, they would fit there. But also like the Roman Lares, which were, spirits said to inhabit a house associated with a family. And they had like little shrines to them. And yeah, so that is what we are working on. And yeah, I thought to myself, like, I've been doing a lot of thinking about house spirits lately.
Right. And then now you have this thing move. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like an acknowledgement or something.
Yeah.
Is there a house spirit that's reaching out to you saying like, hey bud, like I'm right here?
Right. Yeah. I like that line of thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I mean, it sounds like if you guys come up with some conclusions and some maybe a how-to or tips and tricks or an FAQ, you might put some domestic ghost hunters out of business.
That's interesting.
Which might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thought. It's cool though, because it's like, with the Liminal Spirit Oracle, it's like you're talking to your landscape, and now it's going to be like you're talking with a new friend. Like it's like
This stuff goes from mushrooms to entities real quick.
Oh yeah. No, there's no division in those categories.
That's really awesome. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, would love to hear more about that from Kai. And CJ? Maureen's an interesting question, like, did you create the house spirit? Isn't that always one of the deepest questions in like this area of phenomenology?
Right.
Like, are we creating these things and then other people are building on them and making them stronger? And
it's like chicken or the egg, or
yeah,
like and how much is it like tied to the individual? I mean, it seems like really tied to the individuals that are experiencing things. So like I remember when I was young and watching Ghost Hunters and being like, why is it that person I don't know, that person always seems to have activity and these people don't, or they have like a certain kind of activity and this, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe that's because of other factors, but I'm just wondering how much it's tied to that individual themselves. And I don't know, like what they are bringing to it, their subconscious or whatever, their history or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The other day, Garrett, we were having a conversation on the phone, and we had stumbled. I think you had said it. Is it not on the outside? Is it in the inside?
Oh yeah.
Right. And I think that you guys deal with myths and mythologizing locations and places, and those are deeply internalized for a lot of people, whether they're individual or community or the history they're in, right? But you also have a situation where that mythology is also seemingly and purposefully co-created, right? And it does go from the outside in and the inside out, and maybe both at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a really interesting idea, and many mystics may say the same, and that is perhaps this is all a conversation, right?
I think in that context, because I'm thinking of like Quatria, which is of course the idea behind it is that it is a civilization that is an egregore, I don't know, that we were trying to like sort of collectively bring this civilization into reality in the same sense that you are giving a spirit life as an egregore, and that's where like the Oracle of the Hypogeum comes from. Yeah,
I have that here.
But and it's funny because the more we do it, the more we talk about this civilization, and this is like deep liminal earth lore here we're on about. The more it starts manifesting in like consensus reality, which has been really interesting to see. Like the Oracle deck works like really, really well. Not just for us and for people who know about its background.
I remember because we were like coming up with this stuff or having dreams about certain things and like adding that in, and then like all of a sudden one of us would experience like some, have some wild deer experience or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the entities that was showing up. And then, it's just like it was starting to like compound and like get
Mm-hmm.
bigger and bigger, and like things outside of us started interacting with us,
Right.
And like we were just like at first it's kind of like, it's like joking around, but then it became real,
Yeah.
like it took on a life of its own outside of what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, and then Madeline, who does our side quests, they actually had an encounter with an entity known. It starts with a V, like the verdict. We can say that. You can't say the M word, but you can say the ver now. It's this specific entity that we had created in the context of, or not even created. I hate saying created, that we like manifested in the context of this mythology. And Maitland says, like, I saw that. It happened. Like, and it's on the map, actually.
Not only like, it's not just like that it like looked like the thing or whatever. Like, part of the mythology of it is like that there's like, you put a jacket on a door handle at night, and then because it's this like deer skeleton creature, and then it will take your jacket so because it's cold or whatever, or sometimes it'll just leave some things in the pocket. And Maitland had an experience where they had some jacket at their house that had the slip of paper in it
in the pocket,
and it had these weird words on it that sound like mushroom names, but they can't figure out what mushrooms they are. It was like, it totally was like this thing that we just manifested, and then this other person is experiencing it,
Yeah.
We gotta find that specific. It is so wild. It was
I'll see if I can find that specific entry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it listen, I mean, when you look at the phenomenon of creepypasta turned incarnate, I mean, there are these stories, these seemingly fictitious entities and creatures and experiences that now people are legitimately having experiences they can't explain involving these same entities or these same beings.
Right.
And it makes you wonder how careful some people should be with what we're creating, maybe. Like,
well, that's what I've been thinking about, is that like there are other people making myths like QAnon and stuff like that that are dangerous, and like they're like scary dangerous, and they have real life effects, and like those are myths too. And maybe I'm not saying that you should just go out and like make up a bunch of stuff, but like the way we're doing this, where it's just like right now, like we're like having different people like throwing stuff into the hat and see what kind of sticks or whatever, and like it's all with like positive intention. I mean, I don't know what this is, but I think that like creating myths, or like having shared myth experiences with people in this like more positive way, at least it's like it's better than this other thing, that other people are going to make these terrible myths, and people are going to buy into it apparently.
Right.
So I don't know.
But I don't think any of us can help from creating myths.
Yeah.
And creating our own, maybe even our own reality in some ways. Right. Whether we like it or not, I think maybe it's the nature of this. I'm not sure. So I think you're right that, when there is a consensus effort to try to create something with an open heart and with positivity and with wonder and exploration,
right,
that's the best we could try to do, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Instead of them just sort of being machinations of whatever sort of subconscious is brewing, right? At least we can take it by the scruffs and engage with it and try to give some direction to it, or at least be involved in communities that are sort of like-minded, or that can challenge those ideas of our myths only being sort of negative, or dare I say conspiratorial.
Right.
And I'm not saying that people aren't not having real experiences or anything. It's not like this is not all imagination or something.
Yep.
It's just that part of it is, I think part of it is imagination or shared, your dreams or whatever. And then real things I think are happening to people. And I think that's all of this kind of soup of weirdness, and that we should be talking about and like engaging with.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be like just one singular thing. Like all of these things could be,
right,
applicable to it. And it also, I think that's something that's interesting that I think about a lot too, is that the community of people who are into this stuff, who I personally kind of vibe with, And you guys and obviously everybody who's been involved in WUFO and Bex and everybody is also they are like artists. They're actually like they're involved in the act of creating art.
Yeah.
And if somebody is interested in this kind of thing and they don't have that kind of perspective, then that's kind of not what I'm going to be interested in. Like, it's fine. Like, it's totally cool. Like your average, ghost hunting TV show and stuff, that's fine. But I prefer the, like the John Tenney approach to all of this stuff of really getting in there and, creating stuff with it, or, I don't know, like we talk about that pretty frequently here too, about, occultism and the paranormal investigation and stuff like that is similar to like the process of creating art as a performance art. But that doesn't make the phenomena any less real.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
And Maureen, I see. So Maureen says, I feel sorry for the nuts and bolts people. And I can totally get where that's coming from. But also there's a part of me that's like, well, that still could be it too, though. They could be experiencing 1 out of 100 different manifestations of whatever this thing is. And that's just the one that they landed on. So, but yes, generally speaking.
Jim, did you see this question for you?
Question for Jim.
Why did you get interested in weird stuff?
I was just interested in weird stuff since I was a little kid. I'd have this situation where I was around it all the time. My mom and my grandmother were connected in very mysterious ways. I'd have this situation that would occur nearly every day when I was a kid, that my mom would get up and go to the phone and pick it up and just immediately start talking to my grandma before the phone would ever ring. And I would be with my grandma and the same thing would happen. And they just had this connection that they would never need to actually, hear the ring. And they called it their ESP. And that was a term that at that time was the popular term to be used for, having such sensitivity. And I was never dissuaded from believing that there could be something else out there. So I also, on the other side of my family, my grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. And so I was around a lot of really sort of, even for me as a child, some pretty fringe behavior, speaking in tongues, having healing hands, all these sort of things. So when you see the old lady that was sitting next to you start to convulse and speak in tongues and engage with what they consider the Holy Spirit, you go like, okay, I don't know about this. I don't know where we're going here. But you kind of have like that wall, that barrier of disbelief kind of it's pulled out of you to some degree when you're in these situations. And just since I was young, I never found a situation where I would be dissuaded into wondering about what else could be out there. And of course, being born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, you're always looking for Sasquatch and UFOs. And I was never engaged with, ghost hunting or things like that, but it is the art part of it, like Jeremy suggested, that it is a driving force for me. I'm compelled by the stories and interesting ways to tell them. Along the way, getting to experience a tremendous amount of things I can't probably ever explain, and that things that have changed me and defined my character as it is now, which is someone who is completely lost in the weeds, not knowing, what he believes. And even that might be of question. So yeah, I can talk about that a little bit if you want me to, Garrett.
Okay. Yeah. So, I didn't know if you wanted to feel comfortable talking about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I know you had an experience at this ranch that might be relevant to WUFO. So maybe you want to share that with us?
Yeah. So when I started UFOmet, it was just an interview talk series on Whole Earth Radio, actually. And me and some family members, we had heard about this ranch in eastern Washington State in a little town called Trout Lake, right off the Columbia River. And this place sat in the foothills of Mount Adams, in the shadow of it, and allegedly had consistent nightly UFO activity. You could see crafts, sometimes entities. These are tales told to me through AM radio broadcasts of Coast to Coast, AM with Art Bell, and this guy, James Gilliland, who would go on there and talk about this property that he had. I will add a disclaimer that James Gilliland has some pretty fringe political beliefs that I do not subscribe to. But needless to say, the land itself is powerful, and I would find that out on my weekend there when we saw countless lights and perhaps craft in the sky maneuvering in ways that would be impossible for any satellite or aircraft or anything else. So we saw that consistently, and it was on the last night where I really kind of had my breakthrough. Now, as the sun sets there, you typically will start to see light activity on the mountain first. And these lights will pop up and then they'll disappear, and they'll pop up and then they'll fall the entire length of the entire height of the mountain. They'll fall all the way down to the tree line and then zip off. And you'll see these things and you'll just go, what? How is, you start to think, if that is happening in front of my eyes, if that is real, what else is real? What else is possible? And so you get into a state of like sort of openness and belief, if you allow it. If not, you become, you just have to leave because it's too much for you to handle, I suppose. So on the last night, we go, listen, let's just separate. Let's go out into the field. Let's go into the trees. Let's just all separate and just have some time with this space alone and just really take this in. I decided for the first time since being forced to in theater school, I was going to meditate. And I was going to sit in the middle of this field and I was going to stare gently at this mountain, at this volcanic mountain. And I was going to focus on my breath. And I was going to try to do a meditation. So I sat there, and with soft gaze, I breathed in and I breathed out. I breathed in, I breathed out. I did this for several minutes, for 15 minutes. And through my soft gaze, I started to see a light appear. It was glowing, it was growing, and it was becoming abundantly clear that this was similar to those lights that I'd seen the nights previous. And as I breathed out, I noticed that this light was growing in size, and when I breathed in, this light would grow more dim. And for, I don't quite remember how long, but 15 or 20 minutes after that, I had the experience of breathing in and breathing out into that light, and it being synchronized with my breath, and it being, completely responsive to me miles away. And that moment changed me because I felt like that was a moment that could have been classified as contact. That certainly felt like it. And it was soon after that that I quit my full-time job. I dedicated myself to doing the show full time. I started new businesses. I had a complete Robert Anton Wilson calls it Chapel Perilous, right? And look it up if you haven't read any of him or know what that means. But I was standing in Chapel Perilous at that time, and I had to make some decisions about my life. And it was also with that I was able to carry that scenario and think back to it when I was doing Euphomet episodes, and would continue to experience greater degrees of paranormal activity, for lack of better words. And when I encounter experiencers, it gave me a frame of reference to really not inquire about their stories from some sort of, sideline. I was, engaging with experiencers, from another experiencer. I think it gave me a greater empathy for what experiencers go through, most plainly the self-doubt involved in that, and having these experiences going like, wait a minute, am I going fucking nuts? Or are people going to think I'm going fucking nuts? These are things that are a part of that process for a lot of people. And sometimes people can find community or find it in themselves. Some people don't care. They're just who they are. But for a lot of self-aware individuals, it can be a little bit of a quest to kind of feel yourself. And so that experience helped shape what the documentary series was going to be, and why I wanted to create it, and why I thought it would be important to have it. And here we are today, so many years later. And it's just a definitive moment in my life for sure.
Love it so much. People are wooing over here about the story. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't heard that one. That's powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously,
Thank
really,
you.
seriously,
Yeah,
powerful stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think there's one of the arts that is really cool about this whole thing, and coming at it from the perspective also of folklore, is that a lot of the art behind what we're doing is storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is like we're just basically a bunch of primates like sitting around a digital fire in the dark swapping stories with each other,
Yeah. That was like
awesome.
One of my first, when we first started doing WUFO, 37 weeks ago now, just going outside and looking at the stars, because I'm looking for UFOs, but there's these stars here instead. I'll look at those because while I'm waiting for the UFOs to show up. And over time, with what Maylin's doing, giving us these side quests, like learning about the stars that are there, or like, what is that one? And then looking up the folklore of that story, of that specific star, like that stuck out to me. It just made me have this feeling like, oh, people, have been doing that with these stars for freaking ever, and someone else had that same similar experience. Melanated Magician on Twitter wrote something similar to that. Like, they're like, I was out there and I like, oh my gosh, like I having this profound moment with these stars that like everyone, for time immemorial, I've been looking up at these same stars and like making up stories about them and storytelling with them. And it just is weird that, I don't know, it makes you feel connected to how long we've been here and like what we're doing. I mean, on this planet. So
yeah, it really does. And also that we're on a spaceship right now.
Totally. Yeah.
Spaceship Earth.
I actually went when I was right after college, I went through a phase where I was like obsessed with the fact that we were on a planet, and I made a documentary about it. And I made a big giant planet Earth costume, and I went trick or treating in it, and like asking people, like, "Do you realize we're on a planet right now? Like, that is real. That's not like Star Trek. That's real. Like, what are we doing here?" And basically, I would film people talking about this. Like, I was obsessed with this idea for a long time.
Doesn't sound like you.
No.
Oh, not at
Doesn't
all.
sound like it.
Least bit.
Yeah.
Were you like, was it Halloween trick-or-treating age, or like how old were you?
No, I was like just graduated college.
I gotta see this film.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you got to find this thing.
Yeah.
So this Halloween we're proposing, not even proposing, we're doing it. We want people to dress up like their favorite entry from Liminal Earth. Like
Mm.
that costume, and we'll have a social media costume contest.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Dogman for me.
Yeah?
Dogman all the way.
A Dogman. I can see that. Dogman is creepy. I like those. That's there are a few of these accounts and stories that actually kind of creep me out. But I think Dogman's definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Like if I saw a Sasquatch in the woods, I'd be like, okay, that resembles a gorilla. I don't know. But a Dogman, like the only thing that resembles is like a werewolf, which another monster. So
Yeah, right.
Do you know there was a Dogman encounter here in Bremerton where I live, like right next to the Safeway down the street, and it was like on the Dogman podcast. I can't remember what it's called now. And it's like right here in my neighborhood. There's a Dogman sighting. I mean, Bex has been researching this whole
Yeah,
area.
they're all over that area. There's
Yeah.
so many Dogman sightings in your area, Garrett. It's wild.
And I made a TikTok where I went with my son to go look for the Dogman, and we didn't find Dogman, but we did find, of all things, a can of Alpo that was open, like outside of a garbage can. I was like,
No,
do you think this is for the Dogman? Like, yeah. And we kept seeing beware of dog signs, and I want to get a sticker that says man, so put on this sign. So
That's
beware of
brilliant.
dog man. Yeah, just stick it everywhere.
why aren't we selling these yet?
I know. Beware of dog man.
And
You've got a customer.
Yeah.
My first thought there was like, oh, and we could do one for Mothman too. And then I'm like, yeah, for all the beware of moth signs.
We should do that though. We should just make a beware of moths.
Oh, goodness gracious.
That's hilarious. Speaking of scary story or like weirdest story, is there one that sticks out to you, like in your time doing UFO, like one of your people that you interviewed that really like, I don't know, like scared or like was frightening or like just really blew your mind, like one that sticks out the most to you? I don't know if that's a hard question to answer, but
Yeah, it's a very hard question to answer, especially because there's different types of fear that are associated with these things. There's the existential, there's the very biased and unrealistic fears. There are the supernatural, paranormal fears that can be chilling and sort of mind numbing. Then there are just sort of the physical fears that can be a part of this. There have been instances where I've been out in the field and I've thought to myself, oh no, why did I come out here? Or I've realized how bad things could go potentially. And of course, usually in those situations, I'm not giving myself enough credit for, having done the research and being a good judge of character and all these different things. But, especially in the first season, I was out there with a lot of strangers in very remote locations, all alone with no one else knowing where I was. Right. And so when you're out in the forest with a stranger, out in British Columbia, and you're out looking for Sasquatch, you just start to think like, how far are we from town? How do we get out of here if I need to? And listen, over the years, there's continued to be some situations that are like that. So on occasion I have put myself in precarious situations, but I have to do it. I have to be out there sometimes with experiencers and in these places where these things are occurring to a great degree. I think it helps inform the story. I think it helps inform my own context. And through that process, I've experienced a lot of crazy stuff myself that I never thought I would. In a small town in West Virginia, in an old dilapidated hotel, I witnessed with my own two eyes a full-bodied apparition. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would see something from Scooby-Doo like that.
Right.
And I'm being glib about it, but at the time, when I did see this full body apparition, I didn't tell anybody about it for a long time, like for weeks. The person I was with, I didn't even tell them, and they were, had experienced many more paranormal things than I ever had. So, every time I'm in these situations, whether it is physically demanding, dangerous, challenging, or if it's a paranormal experience that I just can't shake or explain, I learn stuff about myself. I learn stuff about the experiencers and the places. They're huge learning experiences, and they're visceral. They are lived experiences, and it just gives me, I think, a quality of perspective that I just otherwise would not have or have the attention for if I weren't directly engaged. Because let's be honest, I am just trying to read those books behind me. Just trying so hard. No, you just, I think everybody gets into these situations where you do want to be studious, and you want to explore different texts and ideas, and we do. But then there just becomes a time where you just have to roll up your sleeves and get involved in it, and you have to kind of find those stories, or you have to find yourself in those stories a little bit to help better tell them.
Yeah. I like your show because of the spectrum of experiences that you've presented. And I was just trying to think, like, what would my favorite, and I think the episode that I found the most inspiring personally was the Wizard of New York. The Devin person.
Devin person. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy, I mean, that is just like inspirational. Like, because he's just like, you know what, I'm going to be a wizard. And then he did it, and he went onto the subway and just started talking to people as a wizard, and like, he was fine. And I'm sure there's a certain amount of white privilege there as well. But at the same time, it's so neat because he's not on Twitter posting about whether or not something is a closed or open tradition, or making what I mean, or making TikToks about traditionalism. Like, he's dressed as a wizard, like an archetypal wizard, on the subway in New York City. Like, we should all be able to do something like that. We should, like, why aren't more, like, what kind of weird reality is this that we don't all feel the freedom to dress up like a wizard and sit on the subway if we want to?
Right. And I mean, and with that, his intent, as I'm sure there's a level of that Devin would probably admit that he gets a certain amount of validation from that attention that he receives, because people gather, right? Like, he's out in the park and people are, sort of surrounding him and being like, what's your deal, guy? So there is a level of that, but at the end of the day, why he's down there in the subway and why he's dressed as a wizard is that he's breaking down people's boundaries, their ability to believe or not believe, and for it to just be. And with that, allows him an opportunity to engage with people. And what they talk about is just life stuff, right? He is that archetypal wizard, and he is that Merlin type figure, which maybe they don't quite give you answers, especially the answers you want, but they do help you provide you a sounding board and they help provide you to maybe figure out those answers on your own. And to see people's reactions when they got a chance to engage with him on the subway or in the park or on the, in the restaurant was really awesome, man. Like, for lack of better words, it was really great to see that level of connection that so quickly could happen between 2 or 3 or 4 people with him. Their whole body would change. They'd relax. Their shoulders would slump. Their faces would smile. It was just a really energetic exchange that would occur, and so damn positive. And you talk about, sort of remythologizing your lives, right? And it's like essentially what he was trying to do as well. Let a little magic in, and then see what happens. And yeah, that was a really fun episode to tape for sure.
There's a little like microcosm, macrocosm there, I think. We say remythologize your landscape, but you can't remythologize your external landscape until you've done it internally too.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah.
It's the emerald tablet.
Yeah. Right.
I'm wondering. I don't want to switch gears complete. Well, I'm curious if you wanted to talk a little bit about the Maury Island stuff that you've been doing and going there with Bex and I, and just like what you're doing with that. I don't know how much you want to talk about, or.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to write a book, so I will say that. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but I am. I'm trying to write a book about the Maury Island affair and its effect on, well, like our culture as we know it today, because there's a lot of things that occurred then that we're still experiencing today, and in very different, degrees. So for those that don't know, in 1947, June, a commercial pilot, Kenneth Arnold, he sees, 9 craft, Mount Rainier, and he reports these things. They're, chevron, but it's reported that they're, saucers. And this goes over the wire, and it starts a hysteria in the summer of 1947. This hysteria leads to, newspapers around the country reporting on flying saucers, UFOs, all sorts of craft that people are seeing all over the skies, not just in the US either. Internationally, this became a thing. Fast forward, Kenneth Arnold is approached by a publisher of called Fate. At the time, it was Amazing Stories, I believe. This guy wants Kenneth Arnold to go and interview these witnesses to an event that happened nearby where he had a sighting, Maury Island, Washington, which is a part of Vashon Island, right across the bay from Tacoma. And so if you know where that is, you can kind of get yourself there on the map. What ensues is Kenneth agrees to go and check this thing out. And as just a normal guy, but now the most famous person in America, essentially. And now he's an amateur gumshoe out on this mysterious island, trying to get to the bottom of a sighting that occurred there, a potential near crash of a ship that occurred within the harbor there. So what ensues is like a really wild story that I look forward to sharing and tracking with some really interesting characters that I think inform basically the start of UFO subculture and conspiracy culture. A lot of it started right there. But a part of that is going to the island, and a part of that is digging around and talking to locals and going to the historical museum. And for what Garrett and Bex and I did one day was scour the island for possible locations for this alleged near crash that occurred. And so we did. We took a day and we cruised around, and this was my third visit to the island for this exact purpose. I thought I had a good idea of where this thing could have occurred based off some information from locals and some other things that I'll probably get into later. I had a informed hunch about where these things could be. So we found a location that could be it. We said, listen, hey, there's a pier. Let's go out there. Let's see what we can be told through a sort of more I don't know, what process would you call it, Garrett?
I don't know. What do you call it? Like just using divination, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bex did a session, and much of this I'll share at a later date, but essentially the session didn't tell us anything about what we were looking for at all.
Like zero.
It actually created and presented an entirely different mythology.
Yeah.
An entirely different case that we had not even heard of or considered, that upon, checking, the only reason we know that there is some, I don't know, something to it, I suppose, is that we went back and just double checked what some of those things were, and there were legitimate things that lined up with it. And so, like a lot. This suggested, how did this divination session, how did whatever this was share so much about this island that we didn't know and that was true?
Yeah.
And how fun was it that it really showed us the nature, the phenomenon's nature sometimes, of saying like, oh, you want to play? All right, we're going to play, but like, we're maybe not going to play the game you were thinking of.
Right. It's like, hey, we have some questions about this, and like, yeah, enough about that. We're going to tell you about this something completely different. Like whether you want to talk about this or not, it had somebody to tell us. It's like
right.
Yeah.
I think what's fascinating to me is that story, how that investigation in 1947 shakes out, is that there's a lot of myth building and there's a lot of misdirection, I suppose, and by very intelligent, creative people. And it was almost as if whatever had happened there on that day was a reflection of the energy of where that investigation really went. It's sort of like it's still all there. That misdirection, that myth, it's still all there. It was just like, here's a new avenue to point you instead of the old one.
Right,
So,
right.
It was fascinating. It wasn't, I left that day feeling a little discouraged that maybe sort of historically I was not finding the things that I really was hoping to find, right, in this sort of quest. But I think what we left with was so much more rich, because it was, well, yeah, of course it's gonna fuck with us.
Totally.
Yeah, so that's a work in progress, and yeah, people should be hearing more about that project here pretty soon, hopefully.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Well, it's almost 10 o'clock now, and so this is the time we usually go outside. You're on the West Coast. So hopefully we all go outside if we can and look up into the skies. If there's anything you want to share, any of your like socials and stuff like that, so people can know where to
Sure.
yeah, check out more stuff.
I'm assuming I'm just amongst friends here, and
Yeah.
that everyone watching probably already is. But if this is the first time you've ever seen me or heard my voice, which I doubt, doubt it. I doubt it. I think
People
we're
do
all
listen.
in the
Well,
same-
check in tomorrow and throughout the week. So
Yeah, that's true. We usually have a lot of views of the archives.
Yeah.
Later on during the week, so we never know who
That's
those
awesome.
that will be.
We're also like this. This is just so great, you guys. Like what you've built here. I'm such a fan of it. I'm always so excited to plug it on the show and to get people to check it out and engage, because I think it's just great, and I think it's awesome that people can engage however much they want, and also a lot of different ways to engage, a lot of different options. Even within tonight, there were several ways to be like, do you want to do this? Here, you can do this. Or so I think that's great. Anyway, if you want to check out Euphomet, it's EUPHOMET. You can find that wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to listen to Night Drift, we're doing a live show this weekend, actually, nightdrift.com. If you're in the Seattle area, it's 1150 KKNW AM. Bex is going to be on with me again this week. Bex is a normal contributor to the show. She'll actually be doing some liminal reports. And so she scours the files of liminal Earth and presents some, some cases of note. So we'll be doing that 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can find me at It's Jim Perry on Twitter and Instagram and everything else.
Great. You also do some wrestling. Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I also I'm the promoter for Defy Wrestling, based out of Seattle. So if you're a wrestling fan, or if you know anything about that world, check out Defy Wrestling if you haven't before.
Yeah,
do some cool stuff.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna just post the WUFO donates again, so people can go there. Anything else?
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Oh, this has
Jim
been
is so
fantastic.
good. I love hanging out with you. I wish you were here so we could just like do weird stuff all the time.
I know.
Yeah,
I feel like
next time.
because Garrett and you and Bex have had a lot of gym time, and I feel lacking. We need
more time.
I want to go on a date with you.
Dude, we need more time. Let's do it very soon. Let's do it.
All right, absolutely.
I would love that.
Yeah, totally. A very
yeah.
platonic date.
No Sasquatch thunder.
No Sasquatch thunder.
Well, thanks again, you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, and everyone for showing up. Try to dream about Jupiter tonight, and tag us on WUFO. Let us know if you see anything in the skies. All right, night, everyone.
Night.